There he is right there. Turns out, David Lloyd, they didn't have to look very far.
No, it's a mere promotion, simple promotion for Brian Schottenheimer. Let's get there. That's the story we're starting off with. That guy right there, Brian Schottenheimer, is the new head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. His first head coaching job. He's been the offensive coordinator there for the last 2 seasons. This season, the offense was 16th in yards per game, albeit without Dak Prescott for much of the season. So he replaces Mike McCarthy as the Cowboys head coach. Let's take a look. Schottenheimer's first year in Dallas. Cowboys put up gaudy numbers on offense, ranked top 6 in touchdowns and yards per game. This season, well, it was a different story. The Cowboys offense scored the 3rd fewest touchdowns this season, while also averaging nearly 50 fewer yards a game. Senior NFL insider Adam Schefter joins us now. Adam, Brian Schottenheimer is a name that didn't generate a lot of buzz in league circles. In fact, he didn't even get an interview for any other head coaching vacancies. So take us through this decision and why Schottenheimer was picked over others the Cowboys looked at.
Look, this is somebody that I think, most important, Jerry Jones felt very comfortable with. When he called Friday night to deliver the news that he had just hired Brian Schottenheimer and that Brian Schottenheimer, a career assistant, is no longer a career assistant. He's now the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Jerry Jones sounded awfully excited about this. Brian Schottenheimer is somebody that he knows, is comfortable with, believes in, knows the system, that his quarterback, the highest paid player in football, Dak Prescott, is comfortable with. And so there are any number of elements that appealed to Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys as they move forward in these talks. They met with Brian Schottenheimer on Wednesday, again on Thursday, throughout the day on Friday, and clearly everything that they heard during those discussions made them come to the realization and the decision that there was no need to prolong this search any longer, and it was time to give Brian Schottenheimer his very first NFL head coaching job.
Okay. Now, Dallas didn't decide on Mike McCarthy until a full week after the season, and maybe because of it, they didn't even get some of the more highly sought-after candidates into their building. Adam, was there some mismanagement here on the part of Dallas? What do you make of the situation and the guy they ultimately got and the guys that they didn't get?
It was unusual the way it played out, David, but it really didn't cost the Dallas Cowboys any candidates. It doesn't feel or seem as if they were in the market for Ben Johnson or Aaron Glenn, so therefore that's irrelevant. The other coaches they didn't interview were not on their interview list, and they were focused in on the group of coaches that they spoke to. And from the moment they began meeting with Brian Schottenheimer on Wednesday, it became readily apparent that this was somebody that they were targeting to be the next head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. There are other names. They met with Robert Saleh, the man who's now taken the defensive coordinator job for the San Francisco 49ers. They met with the former Vikings head coach Leslie Frazier. Jerry Jones himself spoke with Deion Sanders, but never actually interviewed him for the job. Not that he would have needed to interview Deion for the job. The idea of Jason Witten was kicked around. But all along, it seemed like they were focused in on Brian Schottenheimer. Kellen Moore, also an assistant coach with the Eagles, offensive coordinator in Philadelphia, was a name that they spoke to. But again, it really felt like this was going to be Brian Schottenheimer's job. And Friday night, Jerry Jones made that official.
And so now the Saints are the last NFL team which hasn't filled its head coaching vacancy. Adam Schefter with us with some late Friday night news that the Cowboys have hired Brian Schottenheimer as their new.
You're up first. Would you be surprised if Schottenheimer is the new head coach for the Dallas Cowboys?
I'd be disappointed.
Okay.
Thank you.
What are we doing? Has Jerry given up? Has Jerry Jones just gotten to the point where he's resigned that mediocrity is okay as long as I can have my way? As long as people around me understand that this is my show and you won't push back and you'll let me make any decision that I want, and everybody can be in there like zoo animals in little jars and in little cages, and as long as you're happy with this, I'm okay with not winning? Did you look at this offense and say to yourself it was innovative? Did you look at this offense and say to yourself that it was creative? Are other people clamoring and knocking down your door to get this dude out of your building? I ain't heard his name. Cam, you heard his name somewhere else?
I don't even know, buddy.
So why?
We haven't talked about him all season,
So
to be honest with
why,
you.
Jerry Jones, are you reaching down into the dark hallways of AT&T Stadium in a Star to bring this dude up? Stephen A., I don't care what happens. They hire this dude. Don't talk about him on the show.
Sorry.
Erase him from the show.
Stephen A., before you jump in, can I say one thing really quickly? We do this show together every single day, right? Stephen A. and I, year-round. We talk about the Cowboys quite a bit. Not one time this year have we ever mentioned Brian Schottenheimer.
Because he don't call plays, Molly.
Ever.
Yeah.
Totally
Ever.
true. He doesn't
Go
call
ahead,
plays.
Stephen A.
Let me say this to you. On one hand, I get your point, RC, because there's no reason for you and others to talk about the Cowboys. For me to have ammunition to laugh at them, I mean, this is right in my wheelhouse. I mean, they're giving it to me. This is Christmas arriving early if they do this. I mean, you're just giving it to me right there, right on a silver platter, because we know more of the same is going to occur.
Yes.
We're not casting, and if you're Brian Schottenheimer, let's be clear. We're not casting aspersions on you acting like you don't know football or whatever the case may be. Nobody's insulting you. What we're talking about is the climate and the environment, Brian Schottenheimer. We're talking about the fact that you weren't even calling plays. Now, Kellen Moore was, and what did Jerry let Mike McCarthy do? Get rid of Kellen Moore, okay? And so then he calls plays. And then you going to go from that to primetime Deion Sanders being a candidate? To hiring somebody you wouldn't even allow to call plays for you? You've given the Dallas faithful no source of inspiration whatsoever. I almost can't believe it's on the verge of happening. It is a complete blah hire. And if Jerry Jones does this, it really, really, really cements what so many people suspect, that he wants it to be more about him than about winning, because nobody is going to believe that Brian Schottenheimer is going to propel you to heights that Mike McCarthy and everybody else could not do. Nobody's going to believe that.
When I heard this report, surprised? I expect this hire because it goes to everything we know Jerry Jones to be. He wants a puppet to be in place so he can control. When the question came, hey, it could potentially be Prime, the same question existed. Could Jerry Jones allow another star to shine brighter than him? And there's never been a situation, even going back to Coach Johnson, when he challenged Jerry Jones the most out of any coach in his since inception, that you say, and you see how he got Control Alt deleted out of that situation. Now you ask yourself, who is this guy? And what is he going to do any different? Nothing. But they all have something in common. They have to relinquish control to allow Jerry Jones to have the final say-so.
All right.
Y'all, get ready for some Dallas Cowboys news hotter than a Texas summer day. After much speculation and weeks of deliberation, the Cowboys have roped in former NFL head coach Matt Eberflus to take the reins as defensive coordinator. Now, you might recall Eberflus from his days in Dallas back in 2011-2017, when he worked his magic with the linebackers and earned himself a reputation as a sharp defensive mind. Well, he's back in town, and folks are wondering if he's the missing piece to finally wrangle this defense back into shape. Brian Schottenheimer, the new offensive coordinator, is still sorting out his role in the play-calling department. But Eberflus ain't wasting a lick of time. Fresh off his stint with the Bears, where his head coaching record wasn't exactly sparkling, 14-32, he's stepping into a Cowboys defense that gave up the second most points in the NFL last season. Yikes, right? But hey, Eberflus is no rookie when it comes to turning things around. With Micah Parsons anchoring the squad, a guy folks are already calling the best defender in the league, there's hope in the air down here in Dallas. Now, let's talk stakes. Cowboys fans, this ain't just another coaching shuffle. This is about restoring pride in a defense that has struggled to live up to the expectations of America's team. Eberflus is walking into a situation where every mistake will be under a magnifying glass, and every success will be celebrated like the 4th of July. He's got a chance to make a statement, not just for the team, but for himself, proving he can lead a defense back to greatness after his bumpy ride in Chicago, but here's what's really got folks buzzing. Imagine Micah Parsons working under a defensive guru like Eberflus. Could this pairing be the spark that reignites the Cowboys' championship hopes? And while we're at it, what about those other playmakers waiting to shine? Will Eberflus craft a defense that finally brings some balance to the Cowboys' often lopsided game plan? With Schottenheimer on one end and Eberflus on the other, this coaching tandem could just be what we've been waiting for. Now, let me ask you this. Do y'all think Eberflus has what it takes to not only fix this defense, but turn it into a powerhouse? Or are we just setting ourselves up for more disappointment? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay in the loop with all the latest Dallas Cowboys news.